15. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Orange County School Board's work session, which has been scheduled for today for the purpose of discussing the charter school application for Matter Academy, Narcoosee. Narcoosee. John, how could I do that? I know Narcoosee. I am so embarrassed. I know Narcoosee, but after all the effort he put into me to make sure I got Matter, not Mater or Mater, I mess up Narcoosee. Okay, gosh, I have got to apologize to all
Madam
of our
Chair,
good friends in Narcoosee.
you were the mayor of this county for 8 years, so I figured you had
know.
Narcoosee.
I know, that's the problem. That is the problem. All right, thank you. So we are here to discuss the application for Matter Academy, Narcoosee K through 8, and Matter Academy, Narcoosee High School. And if I find out it's not really Matter, but it's something else, I'm just going to crawl under it. Yeah, I got it. Okay, good. I was like, I'm going to have to step out for a minute. The public will not have an opportunity today to participate in the work session to provide public comment because this isn't a regularly scheduled board meeting and no action will be taken. However, there will be an opportunity before this comes to the board for a final vote. We also don't take pre-agenda comments, general public comments during these meetings because it's not a regularly scheduled meeting. But I don't think we have anybody here for that purpose anyway. We have board members. Most of our board members are participating either telephonically or in person. So let me do a quick roll call. Member Gallo.
Here, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Member Lopez.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Member Colbert is not able to join us today due to a personal emergency. Vice Chair Gould.
Present, good afternoon.
Thank you. Member Felder.
Present.
Member Dr. Casterdental.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
Member Byrd.
Good afternoon, Member Chair.
Thank you, and obviously I'm here. I want to remind the public also that might be tuning in that the board members will not be engaging in outside electronic or digital communication during the meeting so that we can focus 100% of our attention on the issue at hand. If you wish to contact us, you're free to do that, but don't expect a response back during the meeting. We'll get back to you when we can. To my fellow board members and staff, I just want to remind everybody in the chambers, speak as closely as you can into the microphone so that we can hear you. And remember that we are filming this for YouTube and Orange TV viewers, so it's important that you speak clear enough for them to hear as well. If it sounds like you're not clear enough, I'll urge you to get a little closer to the mic, speak a little louder. It's always harder with the mask on to come across clearly, so thank you for that. We will now rise for a moment of silence to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And now the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much. And Dr. Vasquez, I will turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As stated, we are here this afternoon.
Oh, I hate to do this to you, Dr. Vasquez. We're so thrilled to have you with us at this meeting, but thank you for bringing it a little closer.
We are here this afternoon to give the board an opportunity to review matters, applications, and to give you the opportunity to address questions to their governing board. I will now turn it over to Associate Superintendent of School Choice, Mr. Moody.
Mr. Moody, you recognized?
Thank you, Dr. Vasquez. Madam Chair, school board members, for the benefit of the viewing public, I'll quickly review the charter school application process. The deadline to receive charter applications was February 1st. At that time, we received 6 charter school applications. Our staff and others reviewed the applications using the Florida Model Charter School Application Evaluation Instrument. Staff met with applicants and their governing board to review the application and to ask questions. As a result of that process, we now have 3 applications scheduled to come before you in a work session to afford you the opportunity to review the applications and ask questions of the governing board. This afternoon, you'll hear about 2 applications. The next step will be board action on April 27th, on or thereabout, when you will make the determination to either approve or deny the applications. I'll now turn it over to Dr. Kia Scott to guide us through the work session process today. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Scott?
Good afternoon, Chair Jacobs, Deputy Superintendent Jenkins, and board members. Again, you are here today to listen to information regarding Matter Narcoossee K-8, as well as Matter Narcoossee High School. As of December 18th, 2020, Matter Academy, Inc. has been designated as a high-performing system with the Florida Department of Education due to their academic track record. A high-performing charter school system means that the entity has operated at least 3 high-performing schools in the state and has operated a system of charter schools in which at least 50% of those schools were high-performing, and no school within that system has earned a school grade of a D or an F. An individual school is designated high-performing if it has received at least 2 school grades of an A, no grade below a B, during each of the previous 3 school years, or received 2 consecutive A grades. Because of this status, the applications were not submitted on your traditional Florida charter school application. Their high-performing status has afforded the applicant the ability to submit a high-performing system replication application. This application allows the operator to, quote-unquote, replicate another high-performing school within that Matter network. They will be replicating Matter Performing Arts Academy High School, as well as Matter Grove Academy, both located in Miami. It is anticipated that at capacity, the K-8 school will enroll up to 1,300 students, and the high school will enroll up to 948 students. Because the governing board is the same for both of the applications, today you will have one overview of both schools. The representatives for our presentation today are Dr. Judy Marty, to your left, my right. She is the Matter Chief Academic Officer. We have Ms. Shani Sadesky, the Matter Board Member, and also Ms. Adalia Suarez, Matter Board Member. Following the presentation, board members, you will have the opportunity to ask any questions you may have. Thank you.
Dr. Marty, you're recognized.
Good afternoon, everybody, and it's kind of great to do. I think my first one this year that I'm doing in person, so it's kind of excited. We kind of very happy to be coming to Orange County, but we are also very happy to be working with 2 high-performing schools that are going to be replicating, and we got with me here, Sheila Gonzalez is the principal of the K-8 school. And then Mr. Nunez was on the application, but he had a personal thing. He couldn't come here, but I brought Mr. Jimenez, who wrote the application and used to work at Matter too, so that we could answer questions about both schools and about any other thing that we have. The first slide that you see, and it's on the, I guess I don't know, you have it on your computers or? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Perfect. We kind of took this picture for our accreditation, and it happened that the little kindergarten finished kindergarten at Matter Grove K-8. And the young lady graduated from Matter High, where she went from 6th grade to 12. And she is dressed in black because she graduated with an Associate of Arts degree from Miami-Dade College. And she was one of 125 who last year graduated with AAs from Matter. Actually, she went to Matter Performing Arts Academy. And that which is school that graduated 100%, but between Matter High and Matter Performing Arts, out of 480 students, 125 of them graduated with AA. And about 150 more graduated with 1 year of college. So our belief is that we are preparing students from college from the day they enter kindergarten. So that's why we cross out the 12. So, Idalia?
So Matter Academy is a not-for-profit, So Matter Academy is a not-for-profit charter organization, and I've been privileged that I started my career as a teacher assistant in the first Matter that opened in Miami in '97, and I've been able to come back and serve as a governing board member, and to be able to see that the same a nurturing, loving environment, that family environment, yet rigorous and high expectations is still present in Matter and in all the matters that it's replicated. Matter has a proven track record of students, like Miss Marty said, achieving college credits, while they're in high schools because of that kinder to college mentality that we have. We're preparing them from college from the moment that they enter an elementary school, not saying if they're going to graduate or if they're going to go to college, but where they're going to go to college. It's that mindset that is established. And here is the vision by some of our Matter students. I think I have to hit it twice.
To provide a viable educational choice by offering an innovative, rigorous, and seamless, technologically rich college preparatory curriculum that gives Matter students a competitive advantage while creating confident, self-directed, and responsible lifelong learners.
And now for the mission.
Matter Academy provides a safe learning environment.
Academics are facilitated by
teachers, administrators, parents, and community,
enabling students to become more confident, self-directed, and
rigor, relevance, and relationships.
I think that, in a way, our mission says it all. But we had a mission. We always had a mission. Good enough. But we just went to reaccreditation. I don't know if I said it, but we just went through same thing that you guys went through as a district. We did the district accreditation with Cognia. We just did it, finished a month ago. So one of the things we did is we went over our mission and our vision. We kind of modernized it, like put it up to today. And at that point, we felt that the best way to express our vision and mission was to have our students telling what it was. And Matter now serves 18,000 students. 82% of our students qualify for free or reduced lunch. 97% of our students are minorities, and they reflect the communities that we're in.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things about Matter Academy is that we serve a beautiful, diverse community. And we've been able to establish a strong school culture with a diverse community. And the proof is in the outcome of our schools. We have over 28 charter schools in Florida between Miami-Dade County and Osceola County. 25 of them are Title I schools. Matter operates also 4 charter schools in Nevada, and we have a private international virtual academy in Italy.
And one of the things that I said is that we work very hard and we review very much our strategic plan. And it's kind of good that we do through all this accreditation process because it makes you internalize and look at what you have and try to figure of what you have, what can you do better. So we did it around 4 big goals: innovate, achieve, engage, and evolve. And innovate has become a big deal to the extent that last year when we were doing our huge professional development for all the Matter, which we had 2,000 teachers participating, we did that last summer before school started. We had to innovate because we used to do that face-to-face, and we went and did it by Zoom. And it was a lot of work, but it was one of the best things we have ever done because we got 2,000 teachers participating. We have 15, 20 sessions going on at once. We have keynote speakers. And then we kept thinking when we're doing a strategic planning, in the world that we live in, if we stay where we are, no matter how good we are as a charter school, no matter how good our network is, if we do not move, we're going to fall behind. And I think that that was the basis for our strategic plan. We are basically moving into getting us to be better every day because nobody has it. We just got to keep getting until every student learns and every student succeeds. So let me show you a little bit about Matter.
For over 20 years, Matter Academy charter schools have been preparing students to excel from kindergarten through college. Through rigor, relevance, and relationships, Matter Academy schools treat each student as an individual. Matter Academy is a high-performing charter school system with a 98% graduation rate. Over $20 million a year are awarded in student scholarships, and more than 25% of graduates receive an Associate of Arts degree. Learn more at matteracademy.com.
And we're going to talk a little bit about financial stability. Because no matter how good you are, if you can't afford to do it, you cannot do it. And we have been extremely doing very well in all our audits since the first school that started. But now we're very happy to say that we're not the only ones that say we're good. We went for a bond issue with Standards & Poor's, and in 2020, Matter Academy was rated BBB, and our bonds went out in 2 days. Everything was sold. So we're now embarking in a way that we are purchasing. Matter is purchasing through our foundation the buildings that we have been leasing in the past, which is something that happened like with the Osceola, one of the Osceola schools. The first one we opened was Matter Brighton Lake. And at that point, we were leasing it from a group from the church, related to a church. And right now, through the bond, Matter Brighton Lake, through Matter Inc., we're purchasing that property, which means the school is going to pay a lesser amount of lease, of a monthly payment to the bond than they would when they were buying. And that was the first series, and now we're embarking on a second series that is another $128 million to purchase other schools. And this is what we now got it. So as we open schools, we do agreements with investors, then we lease the properties with the idea to buy it within the first 5 years. And I think that now we got it. We know how to do that. In addition to that, I think it's important to let you know that Matter Academy is in receipt of the grant for Charter Management Organization for the replication and expansion of high-quality charter school, the CMO grant. We're the first group in the South, really in Florida the first time, because over here you now have two other charter groups that have it, but they were not originally from Florida. This is the same one that IDEA and KEEP has. And we're very happy because for 2020, Matter got the highest amount for that grant. That's why we have been able to now replicate more schools, and the 2 schools in Arcussi will benefit from extra funding. Besides the funding they will receive from their regular FTE, they're going to get starting funds from the grant. One of the things that that grant has given us the capability is that we could hire a principal 10 months before the school opened and a registrar. We can have mentor principals that work with those principals. We could offer more professional development. We could do a lot of marketing. We could buy the buses. There's a lot of exciting things that we're going to be able to do with this grant. So I think that you don't have to worry about Matter's financial stability. I think it's a proven record. Also, all our audits are clean, and they're available for anybody that wants to see them.
And in addition to that, the Matter schools are Verizon recipients. So pretty much all the middle high Matter schools that are Title I schools have qualified for the Verizon grant, which every child in the school receives an iPad with a data plan. And there's professional development, coaching that comes available through the Verizon, and it's really bringing the students to this 21st century. So I wanted to add that piece.
And by the way, both schools being replicated are recipients of the Verizon grant. So you know that as soon as we set foot in that school, we're gonna apply for one.
So about Matter Academy, it's a safe learning environment for all students. We hire only highly qualified teachers. Professional leaders are established and placed in the school. And like Ms. Marty said, because of the grant, we have the ability to not only hire the principal before the school opens, but we also have mentor principals that will be flying out and working side by side with these administrators to ensure that on the onset of the school opening, it's a strong start. And we know that it's very challenging to open up a new school, but if given the time and the resources, it really does make the process a lot smoother. And obviously, we focus on high achievement and performance and targeted, individualized instruction. So Ms. Marty talked a lot about our big Innovate professional development, and I want to expand a little bit on that because we believe in the development of our staff, not just our teachers, our professionals, our staff. It's about building a very strong culture. And we have a very strong core belief that professional development is key. From leadership all the way down to any stakeholder that's in the building. Like she mentioned, Innovate 2020 was a huge event where we brought together via virtual means through Zoom 2,000 teachers that participated in 2-day professional development that was delivered by our own exemplar teachers from our own Matter schools and our other inks. And it was a collaborative effort, and it's an initiative that we're going to continue. We're actually beginning to work on it as this week, as a matter of fact. So professional development is nationwide, and although we are mostly located in Miami, one thing technology has brought us is closer together. I think technology has been key to help us bring our Matter community even closer, even participating in the accreditation process, all the meetings that were being held, all the administrators that were involved from Florida to Nevada collaborating together. So even though there's a school that might not be where the hub of the rest of the school is, all of our schools feel that they're part of the central hub, and it's because we create that student-centered environment. And how do we get to a student-centered environment? Through strong professional development.
And the biggest thing is we really create the college-going culture. The Matter Highs have been all celebrated as best in the nation, but it's also the College Board have designated Matter a demonstration school because we started the Springboard and the pre-AP programs very early in a very low income with quite an amount of students that are ELL, and those students are succeeding in a pre-AP program with the Springboard. It's been to the extent that one of our Matter schools is the designated school. If you go to their website, the students that you see on the College Board website and the Springboard are Matter teachers and Matter students. And it has taken a while because it's a very, when we brought a lot of advanced placement courses, a lot of dual enrollment to the schools, we would have some teachers that didn't say, but this is not for these students. This is maybe for the Palmetto, Miami, they call it Coral Reef, Palmetto, the other areas. And we say, no, it is for all students. Our students are going to do it. And I think that belief have permeated by a collaborative culture, but by, like Idalia says, a lot of professional development, a lot of involvement, a lot of, yes, we can. And I think that that's what has made, I'm very proud to say that our graduation rate is 98%. And last year, I don't even want to talk about 2020. 2020 was 99.5%, but I'm not going to count that because they didn't take the test. So I'm going to be keeping the 2019, which was 98%. And we are placing about 94% of our students in college. So it is a college-going culture in a low-income community. And I want to
All right, let me interrupt for just a minute. Let me interrupt for just a minute and call on our general counsel, assistant general counsel, deputy general counsel, John Palmerini.
Madam Chair, the 15-minute time period has expired.
Thank
I
you.
just
I
wanted-
was, with that timer, I was trying to figure out who it was for, and I did not realize, actually, that we have a 15-minute time period. How many, who else do we have speaking? Okay, so, Mr. Palmerini, I'll need some guidance from you. We do try to treat all of our applicants equitably, and so I am a little cautious about extending the time, and having another applicant maybe not have that time and have a different outcome, which might not be related to the time, but you can appreciate that. I think you've given us a great deal to work with already. Why don't we open it up to questions from board members, and some of their questions might help you have an opportunity to respond to anything else that we might not know about, all right? Okay, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Palmerini. All right, let's begin with Vice Chair Gould.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your presentation. Obviously, you've had a great impact in South Florida. My questions are a little bit more on the background and the relationships with your education service provider. And let me start with the governing board there. Where do the governing board members live, and who will be engaged in Orange County?
All of the governing board members live in, well, between Miami and Broward County, right? And we do come to Central Florida for governing board meetings, and we make ourselves available to the community as needed. And we have, you know, ever since I've been serving on this board, I've been traveling to Central Florida as needed.
Are there plans to expand the board to include more local representation?
As the time goes by, currently on the board, we also have alumni, and we need to have, we have always a student alumni, and at this point, the only alumni we have available are from South Florida. Yes,
I'm going to just stop you there, because I get that part, but I'm interested in those that shape the structure and infrastructure and guide the organization. So, and I don't want to waste my minutes on kind of getting down a rabbit hole somewhere else. So I'm really interested in how the community and culture of Central Florida, which is very different than the community and culture in South Florida, are represented in the leadership and steering the organization. Let me get the rest of my questions out so that you can answer them. So I want to know about that. The Mater Foundation, is that operated also by the governing board, or is there a different board for that?
She's going to ask all of her questions.
I'm going to ask all my
one time.
questions.
She'll ask all of her questions, and then you'll have an opportunity to respond.
Who is going to be the education service provider, and what's the relationship with academia? Because I found that when I was doing my research and background of the charter schools in South Florida. You have a diversity goal. Could you describe that diversity goal? It was in the application. And then how do you intend to target those high-achieving, maybe impoverished children? And that's it for right now.
Thank you. All right, you want to respond to those questions, if you could, please? Just to answer the very first question. Hold on just a minute. I need to have the mic in front of you so we can pick this up for audio. Thank you.
To answer the very first question that you asked about the board, right now, all of our board members, as Ms. Suarez said, are located in South Florida, in Dade and Broward counties. I can tell you, I work very closely with these ladies. We're up here at a minimum once a month, minimum. And that's not even for meetings. I mean, just to check on our schools. So we're very involved. We're very familiar with the culture. And you're right, it is very different. But that does not hinder or impact in any way our ability to effectively run a school in Central Florida as well as South Florida and anywhere else we have a school. To more directly answer your question, at this time we don't have any board members from Central Florida. We're not opposed to having board members from Central Florida. If a vacancy opens and someone wants to apply from the Central Florida area, we're absolutely would embrace that resume and consider that person as being a part of our board. We do have parent representatives from our schools that are regular participants at our board meetings in terms of their contributions to our school advisory councils. So I hope that answers your question.
We are very careful to work with school advisory council that
Let me
are
ask again,
constituted by.
if you can hold your
constituted-
comment until the mic is in front of you, because we can't all hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, our school advisory council, as the law requires, but because we feel it's important, are very active in all of our schools. We have been very successful with that in Osceola. Parents have a lot of involvement, and like we said, not this year, since the pandemic, but I've been, every 3 or 4 weeks, have been in Central Florida since we opened the first Matter Academy.
If I may, Chair.
Follow-up?
To address your, the question in terms of the.
I just wanted to respond to
Sure.
something you both said. I think it's fabulous the amount of time that you spend here, but it's not the same as living here and understanding the true grit and right down to the man on the street level of the community. So if there is an opportunity to get that leadership, it would be something I would like to see.
Absolutely noted. Thank you, Ms. Gold. To answer your question in terms of our relationship with Academica, who you mentioned as academia, it is Academica, and they are currently the provider for our schools. We are open to, looking at different management organizations, but at this time, it's our choice to continue to go with them. They provided great service and support. They've helped us to be successful in terms of finances, legal issues, academics, accreditation, and everywhere else. In addition, the amount of money that they've charged us, I've been on the board for, I think, close to the very beginning of Matter Academy. The amount of money that they charge us per student, I believe it's $450. It started at $425. It's raised $25 in I want to say over 20 years. And for what they provide, it's really cost effective, and we have a great relationship with them. If we do have someone else, that wanted to provide services for us, and could offer us something better, that's certainly something we would consider. We also have a termination clause if for any reason that we decide that we would no longer want to work with them as a vendor.
Oh, our diversity plan, because we have the CMO grant, we have the ability to allocate funds for marketing, strategic planning. We begin 10 months before the school year opens. We're able to purchase buses so that we can release the barrier of transportation, so that we can target these high. The population that we want to bring to our schools, because that is our goal. Our goal is to change the lives and to impact the students of Orange County, and specifically the ones that need that impact. So we have our diversity plan embedded by really starting early on with a strategic marketing plan and the purchasing of transportation.
And one of the things that we're doing with the high school being a replication of a very successful performing arts school. By the way, that school is a Blue Ribbon school that we're replicating, which is 90%, 85% free lunch and 100% minority. But one of the things that attracts students to the fine arts also makes them very good scholars. Being able to participate in a play. I'm so proud to say that that school did a Hamilton, not as good as Broadway, but they produced a Hamilton show that 5,000 elementary school students came to see in a theater. And that kind of thing, those students that did all that work extra, they still perform better. So I think that was a deliberate thing, was to bring a performing arts academy to Central Florida that will attract all kind of talented students to our school. And the reason that K-8 is that she's great with the arts. They do shows, they do et cetera. So we are kind of planning that art mentality, and it's not only the performing arts, it's also the fine art, it's the painting, it's also the CTE. We're trying to bring academies that the students are interested in, and we're hoping they'll be able to get on the bus a little longer to get that product.
I think there was one more question, the foundation?
As far as the foundation, the board is predominantly the same. But we do have a different president and vice president of that, but there are a lot of overlapping members as well. And we do have 2 alumni, Matter alumni students on that board as well.
Does that answer all of your questions? All right, thank you. Let's take questions from Member Lopez. Member Lopez, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Lake Nona and Arcusy area, we have straight A schools. We have the majority of our schools are innovation as well. So I think that we have great public schools in that area. What are you going to be able to offer to that community? Because we already have straight A schools. We have a lot of technology. All of them are innovative. That's my first question. The second question is about ESC and English language learners accommodations. And the third question is based on the type of education that you are going to be able to offer, traditional, online, a combination. I need more explanation on that part. And also, you were speaking about the strategic marketing and transportation, but I would like to know more in details about the selection of the process. The selection process to guarantee the diversity. How are you gonna be able to do that? I need more explanation on that one. And I also agree with my colleague Pam Gold about the diversity in the board as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry? What are we going to offer that's different? No, yeah, that's at the end, but the first question is, we do know that your schools there are very good schools, and we come here as not necessarily competitors, but as part of the community. And I think that even though some people like the variety, there are parents that take their children to private school, and sometimes they prefer a charter school than a regular public school. And we got, in many of our areas, we have attracted a lot of parents that go normally to private school, and they come to our schools because of the uniform, because of the atmosphere that they feel that they are smaller schools in general, etc. But in addition to that, as a charter school, we're not bound by the neighborhood. We could market the entire Orange County community. And then we're trying to attract everybody. We specifically came up with a model that we're replicating because those schools have been successful and they got something to offer. I think that the fact that we are graduating in that school, over 25% of the graduating class with an Associate of Arts degree is not that common anywhere in Florida. We have our middle schools, most of our students that finish 8th grade in our school have at least 4 credits of high school, which is the way we do. Then introducing advanced placement from the 9th grade, together with dual enrollment. We even do dual enrollment between 8th and 9th grade, between 9th and 10th grade in the summer, so that the students get a plan of study that allow them to graduate with their AA if they want to go that route. But we also have in all of our high schools the CTE program with the industry certification attached to it, so that, like I give you an example, we have a very successful, in all the Matter high schools, early childhood program, that the students on the last 2 years really operate with the teacher and of course personnel that is qualified, but we operate like a daycare preschool for our own teachers, for our own staff. And those students take the examination and they are qualified to go work while they are in college. They could work at a preschool because they get the certification that is needed for that. We do that. We take the students to Miami-Dade to take those tests. We are very, very strong on the industry certification too. As we said before, part of a strategic planning is to move with the time, to innovate. So by the time we open the school, we may have 3 more different things that we feel is important to put in the school half we know the community. And going back to the community, we hire principals from the area. The principals, the assistant principals, the people that are literally running the school are residents of the area. You know, we may have somebody, a principal in one of our principals in Osceola is actually an Orange County resident, but it's still Central Florida. And that's what we intend to do, is that principal, that the leadership team at the school is gonna be from this community. I don't know if I missed one of your questions.
I'm sorry, that bell means that's the amount of time allowed for response.
The other one was ELL?
Ma'am?
Oh, no, that's
That
it.
means,
How
You-
long do we get for each question?
Mr. Palmerini? Thank you.
My apologies. Normally, it's 5 minutes per board member to ask questions, and that would encompass the question and answer period. So
Normally how it works.
there's the clocks on either side of the
So if they
room.
take 3 minutes to ask a question, we've got 2 minutes to answer, basically. or-
Yeah.
It's a 5-minute period for the questions and answers to be done.
Thank you, sir.
We do allow,
So,
just
I'm
a
sorry.
reminder for board members. Board members, you do get a second,
Yeah.
third, as many times as we need to go around. We just allow another board member to ask questions in between.
Yeah,
Member
I
Lopez,
need
please.
more explanation, the description on the 5 minutes. 5 minutes is to ask and answer, or
That-
just
It
ask
is,
and answer? So
it
we
is
can
ask
keep
and
going
answer.
and ask the same questions over and over until we get the answers?
it's 5 minutes at a time. So you can ask your question. Generally, it's ask a question, get an answer. Member Gould wanted to ask all of her questions up front, because anyway, that's your privilege, but when the 5 minutes total is up, then we go to the next board member, but we will come back to you. Okay, so we want to make sure that all the questions get asked.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, Deputy Superintendent.
I just want to remind the board that they actually have 2 applications. And so while they're answering it as one, it may be a better idea to ask a question, get the response, and then come back around. Because they have 2 applications and we're dealing it as one.
I'm thinking that a number of these questions will apply to both, but I understand what you're saying. Member Lopez, we'll come back to you, and
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Another question is about the ESC and ELL's accommodations.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is an area that we follow the IDEA guidelines to the T. We work very closely with the sponsor. Our staff we hire ESC specialists in each school so that they can ensure that the student's individual plan is followed with fidelity. They are not only there to ensure that the plan is followed through fidelity, but also ensure that the professional development is provided for the teachers to ensure that they have the strategies so that the students are successful. We monitor the students through their data to ensure that they're also meeting their growth target. If not, we also we reconvene and meet with parents so that we can ensure that students are receiving the services that are identified in their plan. I mean, the area of special education and ELL is one that we take very seriously. We do have a lot of support. From Academica, we have a national director of special education that she's here with us today, Ms. Liliana Salazar, and she's very hands-on, involved with our schools, with our administrators, to ensure that our students receive the appropriate accommodations and strategies.
So do you have any specialists as well?
Yes, and we also have ELL specialists in schools. We have ELL specialists and special education specialists. And we implement the LEP plans also as well.
Also,
And-
all our reading teachers are ESOL endorsed.
Perfect. And what type of education are you going to offer in terms of traditional and online?
It's always been traditional, completely,
I think her question, Ms. Marty, deals more with this year with the pandemic. I just want to give you the board an idea of what we were one way that we innovated when we had to shut down the schools. We went to online and, we did it through Zoom and we have.
Whoa,
Right.
I'm sorry, this does not work. We are recording this. People are listening to this, tuning in, and they will come back at a future time to listen to this. So there is only one speaker at a time. You all need to decide who that is, and they speak into the microphone, okay? Thank you.
You were asking that question. We do have what is called remote live instruction. So students that are at home can participate in instruction via Zoom. There is a self-tracking camera that will track the teacher, will track the board, and the teacher will be able to give instruction, and there's TV in each of the classrooms where they'll be able to see the students on Zoom. So instruction is happening seamlessly. The kids at home, the kids at school, whenever we have to quarantine a student, the student can participate in remote live instruction. Instruction does not stop. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, we will in 1 second.
Hi, I'm going to go ahead and address your question with regard to diversity. So one of the most important things, obviously, is that we want to, make sure we get to know our students. That rigor, relevance, and relationships that we talked about is very important to us, and building those relationships with each and every student. Connecting to the community as well as to the parents is very important to us. Doing outreach, making sure we bring the community in to be a part of different activities, celebrating diversity, doing different activities that address diversity, teach about diversity, recognize and address any inequalities that are in the school through workshops with students, educational opportunities with parents, professional developments with staff, and then obviously hiring diversity. Recruiting at colleges, different types of colleges with diverse populations to make sure that our teachers that are coming in and our educational professionals that are coming in are reflective of the community. We want to address those learning needs as well through making sure that we're providing for different types of languages that are the languages represented at our school, to make sure that those students are getting the ELL support that they need, as well as translation materials if we have to outsource or hire, to make sure that we're able to do those for some of the more obscure languages that might not be as common thread as French Creole or Spanish or other languages. We make sure that we do that as well. Did I forget anything? Okay, I think, does that address your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that is. All right, let me interrupt for a minute because that is our second 5 minutes. Let me go through this. It's been a while since we've had one of these work sessions, so let me just go through, for the benefit of the board and for y'all, how this works. Before I was on the board, before most of us were on the board, not a policy, but an agreement, a protocol was established by the board that each board member would have 5 minutes on any public hearing or any work session to ask and receive answers to their questions. And that after that 5 minutes, we would then rotate to the next board member. Didn't mean that first board member didn't have more than 5 minutes. They only had 5 minutes at a time. We had situations where some board members maybe took a little bit longer than they might have needed and would have been helpful to be more succinct, so that has been helpful. We also want to make sure that while we have 8 board members, that if one board member were to hold the floor for 45 minutes, the rest of the board members might have similar questions but never be able to phrase them themselves, okay? So for that reason, this board adopted, I've never been on a board that did this before, but I must say it has worked very well. The idea was ask your question, get your answer. Ask another question, get an answer. 5 minutes is up, we move on to the next board member. We did have one board member who preferred to ask all the questions at once, but what we found was that would take up most of the 5 minutes, and then there was no time to respond. So that made it difficult for me as the chair to try to make sure that this was done equitably. So I'm going to ask the board members go back to ask one question, get an answer. Ask another question, get an answer, rather than ask all of them, because I can't hold you to 5 minutes if you only have 5 seconds left to answer 10 questions, theoretically. If a board member asks a question and you feel that the answer is off task, or you've gotten your answer and and more information is being shared than we need for the efficiency of the meeting and for everyone's benefit, politely explain that, that's not what I asked, or that's adequate, thank you, my question's answered, so we can use our time as efficiently as possible. I know I've wasted some of ours, but I hope in the end that we catch up on the time I just spent on that. Member Castellano, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And
Pardon me, may I respond to Ms. Jacobs for just a moment? I just have a clarifying question.
Yes, of course, please.
If there is, in the preceding questions, if there was any question that we did not answer or did not answer thoroughly enough, and you would like to ask the question again so that we have more time to thoroughly address your answer, we're happy to do that. And I wanted to see if it was okay if we could do that.
If we call for it, yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Or if you run out of time, you could even offer, there is some additional information if you'd like it, and then we know we might want to come back to that. But we are still we're gonna stick on our 5 minutes, and we will give you an opportunity at the end also to wrap up and provide any additional information in a reasonably short period of time that you feel like we maybe didn't ask or wasn't clear in your answer. I also have one question, and this is for Dr. Vasquez. What was presented to the board ahead of time was that there would be one presentation that would cover both applications. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, that is what we're doing.
Okay, so all questions the board has on either application need to come forward at this time. Okay, just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. All right, now, Member Castellano, you're recognized. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, all of you, for attending today and answering our questions. I have a variety of questions from the academic side to the financial side. So first, in OCPS, we use a variety of models for our gifted instruction. We screen all of our second graders to see if they're eligible for gifted instruction. And your application says you offer full-time gifted programs with gifted endorsed teachers. Can you briefly explain what that looks like?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry, school alarms. I actually do have a self-contained gifted classroom in each grade level. We identify students at the kindergarten level. The teachers, will refer students based on their iReady data, SAT data, and we do screen them in the summer. And then they would go into a gifted self-contained with a gifted endorsed teacher starting in first grade. But if at any point teachers will refer students for gifted, we do screen the students at the school, and a psychologist will come out and screen them, and then they will be placed in a self-contained gifted classroom.
All right, thank you.
That's for the elementary. For the middle high, we do have advanced courses. We have AP courses, high school at the middle school level, college at the high school level.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
And
want
in
to add.
addition to that, every one of in our middle schools, we offer English, math, science, and social studies with a teacher that is certified in their subject plus gifted endorsed. And that's the model that we follow. Sometimes we may not have a science teacher that is gifted endorsed, so the students may be receiving advanced science and gifted English. At the middle school it's called language art, at the high school is English. And then by the time they get to 11th and 12th grade, we kind of move more into the advanced placement because students prefer it and it gives them college credit.
Okay.
But we have a complete pathway from first grade to 12 for our gifted students.
All right, thank you. Next question. In your application, you said based upon the traditional public schools within a 5-mile radius of the area where the school hopes to locate, you hope to reflect a similar minority population of 75% minority, meaning you basically expect to draw from that 5-mile radius. Have you considered the impact of funding you will have on those other schools in OCPS within that 5-mile radius?
Okay. It is my understanding that the Narcoosea area is constantly growing. that is there are new developments coming in that area at all times. So we are expecting that everybody can survive, that some of your schools, particularly the students that are happy at one school, are not going to leave the school in 4th grade or 5th grade. We're going to almost every time we open a school, we start opening K1 and 2, we open the 6th grade, then we open the 9th grade. We tend to open schools at that crossroad. Well, kindergarten is, everybody had to go to a kindergarten. And then many students change from 5th to 6th to a middle school, so we targeted very much to get 6th graders, and then again 9th graders. And I think that all over the country, now high schoolers are picking and choosing very much where they go to high school. It's like when they get to that age, it's more of a student choice than a parent's choice, as long as all the schools are safe and do what they have to do. So I do feel that because of the performing arts, we're going to attract certain type of students that really like that particular curriculum. We also have the CTE, and I also think that our dual enrollment program attracts students from all over the place.
Okay. Next, I did review your binder. I went through both of them, and they are very, very similar, the programs. I looked at the educational program, your curriculum, your instructional design, your high expectations, differentiated instruction, interventions, assessment, professional development, learning environment, technology resources, dual enrollment, AP courses, CTE industry certifications, even, as you say, the performing arts.
Yeah.
Member Castellano, I should have stopped you before you started. I was looking at the time.
I'll hold
like
it.
They're going to have no time.
I'll hold.
Thank you. Okay. I have one easy question for you. Well, one quick question for you. Member Vice Chair Gould, I think, raised an important issue in terms of board representation. But in one of the responses, you said that your parents are actively involved and that parents are welcome to attend the board meetings.
Absolutely.
And that kind of triggered in my mind the fact that board meetings that are held in Miami or Broward, I'm seeing you're shaking your head no, and that makes me feel good. I wanted to know that parents that are in Osceola, Central Florida, or Orlando will have an equal opportunity to participate. Can you talk about where your board meetings are held? Thank you.
So we before the pandemic, we would travel to different areas and we would hold face-to-face board meetings. And we would always have a conference set up, conference phones set up, and those parents were invited. Let's say it was a parent from Osceola County that wanted to address the board. They would visit the school, and they would, that would be the visiting site, and they would participate in the board meeting. Since the pandemic, we've had to shift, even as a board, and conduct many of our meetings via Zoom. And what we have created is a system where all of our notifications are invited to the school site, and the public knows that if they have a public comment, they come to the school site, and that's where they participate with the Classroom of the Future technology, and now it's equitable because we're all participating in the same way. So the one thing that the pandemic has brought is a way to bring us all together, and that the location is not really a factor any longer.
Yeah, excellent point. Thank you, and thank you for that clarification. I do think, and unless Mr. Palmerini tells me it's not something that we should be considering, I do think the point that the Vice Chair has brought up is important. It would be important to me as a parent. I grew up in Miami. The culture is different, but there's many things that we have in common. Our welcoming attitude towards diversity, our very diverse student population, a lot of those things are in common. But as a parent, I would like to know that there's someone from this area that's serving on the board. So I would appreciate if you would give consideration to not just saying if there is an opening in the future, but striving for a plan to ensure that there will be more equitable, I'm going to call it equitable. I don't know if that would be the right term, but more proportional representation moving forward. So I don't expect an answer today, but if you can give that some thought, and Mr. Palmerini, I don't know, under the list, the issues that we're supposed to consider that may not be relevant to our final decision. Can you respond to that? I want to be fair to everybody and make sure that we mind the rules that are established for us.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members of the board, can you all hear me, first of all?
We can, thank you.
Okay. There is, in the statute, the charter school statute, there is a provision that calls for a representative to facilitate personal or parental involvement. That has to be at every school, and it has to be a resident of the district. If the school establishes that, then we cannot require them to have a board member that resides in Orange County under the statute. And with respect to board meetings, it says there has to be 2 meetings conducted in the county every year by this group. So at least 2 board meetings will have to be here. So, but with respect to, if they have the parental liaison, I think is what the old version of the statute calls it. If they have that, then we can't require a board member to be from Orange County.
Thank you, Mr. Palmerini. And I wanted to clarify that because while I do not always agree with state statutes, I do recognize that we are a country of law, and that it's our obligation to stay within that law. So as I asked that question, I thought it best to make sure that I understand the confines of our decision making. Did you want to respond to that? And then I'm going to yield the floor.
Very quickly, that we do have a parent representative on each community, on each school. And in addition to that, those people go to the board meetings. And in addition to that, I like the idea that we have a vacancy, or if we decide to go from 5 members to 7. I'm not a board, I work for the board, but I will bring up to the next board meeting.
Thank you. That's kind of what I was thinking, if you could expand the board in order to accommodate that. I think it would, regardless of the fact that it's not part of our decision-making, if I were in your shoes, I think it would be valuable as you expand more and more here. I think to parents, it will be an attribute. All right. Thank you very much. Let me, with 15 seconds left, let me recognize Member Castrodeno. She's going to have to repeat that question, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was looking at that clock, and I thought I had 2 minutes left. So I was going to look at this one.
I totally understand. Okay, that's 2 hours and 7 minutes,
Yes,
but no.
Okay. So back to my question, where I read all the different things that you offer and the structure, your curriculum, and your AP courses, the industry certifications, your performing arts, but it sounds like you're trying to replicate what we already do in OCPS. There was very little that's different in this whole application than what we already offer. So what is it that you hope to bring that is different that we're not already doing here?
It's difficult to explain. I wish I could have you visit some of our schools. Part of it is the sense of we keep the students do not leave. We graduate students, they come back. Like I could show you that we now have 50 alumni working as teachers. It's a very big sense of family, and you may have it better than us, but I think we do a very good job of that. Parents are satisfied. We have a very high parental involvement. I would say about 80 or 90% of our parents are involved in one way or another. We got a lot of participation. Parents volunteer, a little less, again, with the pandemic is different, but it's been like a lot of family activities. I would say that your schools are great. I'm not have anything to say against your schools because I would be lying. But I think that we are a little different. And that until you see one of our schools in operation, I don't think that I could put it in words. We really do a lot of working together with the principals. We got Principals Coalition that we meet every 2 weeks religiously. Everybody brings problems. We teach each other. It's a lot of cooperation among all the administrators, including the ones in Nevada. So sometimes we do a meeting at 12 so that they don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for a 9 o'clock meeting, and they participate. I think that Matter is unique, and I'd love for you to visit a Matter school. You can go to Osceola, you can go to Miami anytime, and maybe you feel that different because most of our visitors say, wow, these kids love to be here. They like each other. We do a lot of, by the way, I know you do it too, but we are increasing as we speak, the social emotional learning because of all the issues with the pandemic. And we want our students to be happy to come to school. And I think that's one of our key Kids are happy there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I can't disagree that those are things that we also don't experience in our public schools, this sense of family as well. And so I appreciate what you're trying to do. I'm just not sure.
If you don't mind, let me follow up. So this is going to be a K-12 model. I don't know if there's a K-12 campus in Orange County, but this would be a campus where we would have our families, and one family that has students ranging from kindergarten all the way to high school will have a one-stop shop. And that makes us unique. And I think what Ms. Marty's trying to really elaborate is, you know, yes, maybe we're sharing very similar programs, but it's in the application. It's the way that we collaborate across county lines, because really it's in that power of number and expertise that really, you know, you make your implementation strong. So it's not just about having the programs, but the way that we implement the programs. It's Leader in Me. Many of our Matter schools are utilizing Leader in Me, which is very unique. Not a lot of schools have a Leader in Me program, and it's a strong social emotional learning. It really builds the soft skills, you know, through Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. And that is very unique. So, yes.
Lead the way.
And the project Lead the Way is the other. And I know that the high school is a STEM certified through Cognia. I know that Matter Grove is going through the accreditation process early next year, but we were among the first charter schools in our South Florida that earned the STEM certification through Cognia, which is a global certification process, and that makes us unique. And it was a very rigorous process because they look at STEM not just, you know, science, math, and technology. They really look at that 21st century skill, that holistic approach to learning and project-based learning. So I think those things make us a little unique and different.
It sounds like you might be unique among the charter schools in that you do these things. But even the Project Lead the Way and all those other things, we also do those.
Yeah.
But time's up.
Well, thank you. Let me jump in, then I'll come right back to you. The average size of your classroom, and you described K through 8, but you have, K through 12, but you have K through 8 and then high school. What's the size of your K through 8, and what's the size of your high school? On average, I know you have different schools. Huh?
I think it was 800 and some and 900.
Okay.
Altogether,
Hang
it's
on.
about
Decide who's
1,800.
going to answer. I'm talking about the average K through 8. What's the total size? What's the average high school? What's the total size? And then which,
How many do I have? 1,200.
She had 1,200 K to 8.
and high school?
The high schools run up between 800 and 2,000.
Okay. Okay, that's a big spread, huh?
Because we have many high schools depend on the location. Sometimes.
Oh, no, I'm not, it's not a criticism. I'm just like, when you said 800, I'm thinking, okay, there's part of your difference when you talk about family.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
an 800 student high school feels very, very different than a 3,000 or 4,000 student high school, night and day, right? And there's things that comes from a bigger high school that you might not have, but that sense of community is easier to build in a smaller school. Second, class sizes relative to our public schools. Can you speak to that? Don't go through every class size, but typically smaller. What do your class sizes look like?
Our class size, we follow the law.
Okay.
And it's
similar.
based
Okay.
on average.
Okay.
And
Okay. Member Castellano, I burned up a little time so you can have 5 more minutes. Go ahead.
You're going to yield your time.
No, I just
No?
mean
Oh, okay.
you have to rotate, so I
All right, thank you.
go ahead.
I noticed you don't have a librarian or media specialist. Is that a cost-saving matter?
So I think one of the benefits, to be honest with you, that we've seen with the global pandemic is, you know, the rich technology environment that we've created. We have 1-to-1 computer ratios. We have a lot of digital resources, iPads for our secondary students through the Verizon grant. So many of the resources that are available are digital grants. It doesn't mean that we don't have a library. You know, we tend to build small libraries or even classroom libraries where the students will have access to books. And that's very important because we understand the importance of paper. But we don't have, our schools do not have a certified media specialist. We'll have, you know, a paraprofessional, certified paraprofessional that will, you know, manage.
The high school have certified media specialists. but we call it a media center. We really don't call it a library. We donated books like crazy 2 years ago in one of our largest high schools because we have gone very much online. The kids were really reading online. And by being a one that everybody has an iPad, it's very easy for the students to borrow books through our central system. So it's a library, but it's an electronic library. But we still keep the media center. Actually, we do college visits in the media center. We need the media center at the high school. It's a place where kids congregate, where kids go sometimes at lunchtime to do homework. We have it full of computers, and we still got books, obviously, but not as many as we had. Like, I'm talking about a high school that is 20 years old. We got more books in the library 10 years ago than we do now, but we have more access to electronic media now than we ever did.
And at my school, we do have a library. We do have a computer lab in the library. So the kids normally can go out and check out books, and the librarian will read. So it varies from school to school. I don't know in that particular application, but at Grove, we do have a library.
And that's one of the things that we got the money for the grant. If we didn't have it on this budget, remember, the budget that you are seeing does not include the grant funding. And I believe that we have in the budget of the grant money for each of the school's libraries, but more for technology.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that clarification. Can I ask another? You are, this school is going to be a college and career focused, and you have, that's, I guess all of your schools have that college and career prep focus. Do you know what percentage of your students who've graduated go on to enroll in college and then graduate?
94% on the 94% in all our high schools, but on the one that we're replicating, it's 97%.
Who go into college?
To 4-year colleges.
And graduate as well?
Actually, we have a tremendous amount. We used to keep better track when it was Social Security because we used to become on that national program, and now it's a little harder, but we are keeping track. The majority of our students graduate at least in 5 years.
Okay, thank you. Another question? Okay. I was trying to figure out the lease agreement, and then you in the budget and for your facility, and I can't tell. Also, has the school building already started? Has that process already started? It's been located, like it's going to be on Narcoossee Road. Has the land been purchased, and that whole process been started?
Yeah, it has started. We have the plans of how school is going to look like. We got the location, but we obviously cannot start building without having a charter to put in there.
Okay, and then who is building the school?
It's going to be, we probably will go through a group of investors. They build the school, we lease the school, and then we go to our bond process that I explained before, and we'll buy the school. Probably after the 4th, 5th year of operation, we will then Matter Academy Foundation will buy the school.
The foundation.
That's the process we follow in Osceola.
And of all of the schools that you run, have you done that in the past? Do you purchase those buildings?
Because we run some schools in all Catholic school buildings that we lease from Archdiocese, and they don't want to sell it because they're attached to a church or whatever. We got
If I can just interject, my school is in the Boys and Girls Club. We have a 10-acre facility for the Boys and Girls Club. I started at the club, the school. There was a need in the community for their kids to attend the school, and that's where we got the 1,200 student capacity, and it's a partnership. So they own the building. I lease from them as community partners.
Okay, 5 minutes is up. Might need a louder buzzer on that thing. Let's go to Vice Chair Gould.
On the funding of the property, I know that you said a lot of that is funded either through outside sources or with the foundation, and then the asset becomes part of the foundation. But a lot of the things in the buildings are funded through tax dollars. In the event of a tragedy happening to your company, is there a mechanism built into your plan and into your contract to return all of those items that were purchased by taxpayers? Yeah, I want to get that on record. So
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
We know that property control is huge.
Yes.
And now, don't forget, we had that grant. If our property control is not perfect, we cannot continue the replication grant, but we always had, whatever belongs to the school, and that's it. It's not part of the wall.
And legally, we're required to have property inventories, and we inventory all the assets of the building. And upon school closure, obviously, all the assets stay with the school district. Yeah.
You know, luckily, we never had to close school. So
Anything
hopefully
else?
we never have
Vice
to.
Chair? No. All right. Thank you. Member Castellano?
That's all. Thank
All
you.
right. Any other board members? Member Gallo? I believe you would have asked.
Hi, Madam
questions.
Chair. I'm good. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. All right, if there are no further questions, I'll give you, is there a standard time for allowing them to just wrap up comments? 3 minutes, 5 minutes? 3 minutes?
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is the last one.
My memory's failing me at this point. I don't remember if we have a standard wrap-up time. I think it will be at your pleasure, Madam
All
Chair.
right, let me give you 3 minutes. If there's anything that you think wasn't clear or that you feel like you need to cover that you may not have covered, take this opportunity, okay?
I just kind of want you to continue to see the entire presentation, because you were asking a question. I want you to see our classroom of the future, because if you see it in the little film, it's a lot better than us explaining it. And I want to turn it over to Sheila so she can talk a little bit.
Let's do the film
Let's
first.
do the phone.
Everyone, look back and say good morning to our friends that are on remote live instruction with us.
I'm going to be sharing the screen for right now. You can just follow.
How would I get to 18? Can you show us, Victoria? Very good.
Okay, class, take out your QR code scanners.
Yes, Michael, you have a question?
How many did they say the vocabulary? What did you learn from the vocabulary?
Welcome to the classroom of the future.
And just to give a quick wrap up, as Ms. Suarez mentioned, I actually was the first teacher that Matter ever hired. So I have been with Matter from the beginning and seen it grow from 3 classrooms to 33 schools all over the nation. And one thing that resonates is that sense of family, that sense of collaboration, that sense of relationship. So what makes us different is the rigor, relevance, and relationship. Yes, we do teach the standards and we do follow all procedures that we need to follow. But learning has to be relevant for the students. How do we make it relevant? Through project-based learning, through attending conferences such as Get Your Teach On, attending the Ron Clark Academy, and giving our students that real life application and real life experiences through Leader in Me. So those relationships really are what Matter is all about. And if you can take anything from this whole presentation, is that rigor, relevance, and relationships, and our emphasis is on our relationships with our babies and our families.
All right, thank you very much. Excellent job.
And
on
I
your summary.
do just want to add, I think the innovation question, it's one that we get asked often. It's a great one. I think Chair Jacobs, you mentioned that us offering that K-12 program in a smaller environment and in a more intimate environment is something that, we want to bring to the community. That particular area, to address Ms. Lopez's question earlier, is booming. It's growing quickly, and we hope to offer an innovative program there as well in such a growing area. Thank you.
All right, excellent timing. You have 1 second left. Thank you so much. And sorry to be so regimented, but we do really work hard to make sure that we are fair to all of our applicants. Thank you. And okay, so we have covered all the questions that we have, and you've covered all your time, and there is no action to be taken from the board at this point. So if there's nothing further from our council or from our deputy superintendent, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we did the two schools together?
Yeah.